Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm really glad that you're here. If you are brand new here, my name's FiddlinJonny. This is my fiddle channel and magic product review. And before we do any magic product review, we do a quick fiddle tune. So let's do a little bit of a really small snippet of The Wind That Shakes the Barley. Told you it would be just a small snippet. Anyway, that's called The Wind That Shakes the Barley. You should go YouTube that song. It's a great tune, I really like it. Anyway, you're here for the magic product review today, and I am reviewing Squint by Chris James, and it's released through Alakazam Magic. And I think this is Chris's first official release where it's a purchase. He did Pop Wild a while back, which was free, and I reviewed. At any rate, I think you're going to want to stick around and hear more about this release. All right, let's get right into Squint. And usually what I do is, when I do reviews at this point, I would usually talk about the effect. I'll go ahead and I'll record a demo of it, and let's go ahead and go to the demo of Squint right now so you can see how it can be performed. All right, let's just do a really quick ace routine here with my 4 aces, and of course, as you can see, I've got the ace of hearts, ace of clubs, ace of diamonds, and the ace of spades here. So what I'm going to do, and I guess I should point out that these cards are marked, so it helps me do this effect because I know which card is which because of the markings. And if you look, I'll go over it a little bit later, but if you look closely and maybe even pause, you can probably see that. And I probably shouldn't tell you that, but anyway, if we take the ace of spades and we just put it on top of all the other face-up aces, and we give it a little bit of shake, something strange happens to the other cards. They all turn around with the exception of the ace of hearts. So the ace of hearts remains face up, but if I take the ace of hearts instead and I bring that into the deck, again, if I give it just a little bit of a shake like that, again, something strange happens. This time, it's the ace of clubs that decides to turn itself over. And if I take the ace of clubs and put it back into the deck, you watch it it's just a little bit of a shake like that. And then suddenly, it's the ace of diamonds this time that decides to poke itself out. Let's take the ace of diamonds and bury it into the deck. Give it a little shake again, and what do you think is going to happen? I think you already know, is that you will see the ace of hearts show its face there. And again, let's go ahead and bury that ace of hearts back into the deck and give it a little shake again, and this time, of course, the ace of clubs has magically turned up. Let's go ahead and bury that back in there. So obviously something strange happens with these cards. Now the truth is I'm using a little bit of sleight of hand and card control because I'm using the marking system. I should probably point out that because of the markings, like I know this one here is the ace of spades. Because of the marking on the back of the card. But there's something powerful as well about the ace of spades that I can never quite understand. As an example of it, if you just sort of do this, you'll notice that now all of the aces once again turn themselves face up. And this, of course, is where I'm now going to do a little bit of the explanation. Chris James has given me the approval to that. If you squint, you can notice that there are actual markings on the backs of these cards. Squint and you'll notice it. You may have missed that the first time because you weren't squinting, but if you're squinting now, you'll see that the card markings are a little bit easier to see. All right, thanks for watching. That is Squint by Chris James. All right, that was my handling of Squint. Now there's multiple handlings or routine variations on this, but that was mine. I hope that it was helpful. You sort of see it's a packet trick. Many packet tricks have a lot of similarity. I think this one is like a variation on a variation of a variation in essence, and you probably can go like, oh yeah, this reminds me of this one. I think Chris sort of brings his own unique handling, has worked out some of the challenges of some other similar packet tricks that work for him, and I think they're nice additions. And I just love packet tricks, so that's all good. Let's talk a little bit about what are you going to get. So you're going to get this package right here, and in this package here, you are going to get 5 custom printed cards right here. They're basically what you see in the video explanation earlier. And you're also going to get a tutorial. Now, get this on the tutorial. The tutorial is 1 hour and 42 minutes in length. Oh my gosh, that is awesome for a packet trick. I think a lot of packet tricks are 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes tops. 1 hour and 42 minutes on this. So I loved that. Thought it was freaking awesome. It's also downloadable, not just streaming, so if you want to make sure that you can download it, you can download it. It's downloadable from the Vimeo website. So let's talk about how are the instructions. Now here's my first negative thing, or maybe I should hold off on the negative thing, because I feel like 90% is awesome, 10% I had a challenge with. So let's start with how the tutorial's put together, first of all. It starts off with the trailer for the release, and then it has snippets of live performances, and then it has a welcome from Chris James, the creator of this effect. From there, you're going to get tutoring from Chris James. You're also going to get Craig Petty on this. You're going to get David Jonathan, and you're going to get Kevin Ost. All really great performers, really good thinkers, and they're adding their variations and handling on this. And I really enjoyed seeing their thinking, approaches, and variations as well. You're also going to get this additional handling that came up with, developed by Gregory Wilson. Now, Chris James is going to teach that part of it, but it is a Gregory Wilson handling of this trick. I want to also say Chris does an awesome job in the beginning of this video around crediting, and I really appreciate it, because I know people will look at the demo or the teaser for it and go, oh, well, that reminds me of some sort of variation on a twisting the aces type of a routine. Chris has got all the appropriate permissions and readily acknowledges those on there, and I really appreciate it. So awesome job to Chris on that. What you're going to see then is Chris James and Craig Petty essentially on like a live Zoom call, and where Chris is going to go and perform the effect for Craig Petty, doing a live performance for him, and then he's going to do an explanation of the effect. And then you're going to get multiple ideas from Craig Petty and additional handlings from him on this. So I thought that was actually really nice. You're going to get then an at-home presentation done by Craig Petty to his son Ryland, and then Craig's going to go over the variations of his routine that he goes on there. I like it because it really shows you, there's versatility with this gimmicks, and you can add a lot of your own thinking in terms of what are the variations you could create and really make it personal for you, including your own pattern. And they're going to go over sort of the different ways of sort of presentation with these cards, and each of these creators and performers have such a nice, unique way that they approach it, and I think is really great sort of for you, the consumer, when you're considering it. You're also going to get, I don't think I mentioned, I will say, David Jonathan's version, just loved. David Jonathan just is a brilliant mind and creator in Magic right now, in my opinion. I love his presentation. I think if you go over to David Jonathan's Instagram channel, he does a performance of Squint, and you get just a really nice view of what it looks like. Then you're also going to get Kevin Ost, and he brings some really great ideas, and in particular he shows all the backs of the cards being read in his variation, and this is a little bit different than sort of the handling you might see from the other folks on there, and I really liked it. Okay, so here's the one thing I want to address on this tutorial. This is my negative piece, and I want to be clear. This is 10% that I'm not happy with, while 90% is fine. Not a critical flaw by any stretch. And it is an issue I have with many folks who are teaching packet tricks. I think if you saw Brent Braun's definitely not marked one, I said had the same criticism in that tutorial. His was even worse. This one wasn't bad. That one was terrible in my opinion. There are some very simple basic moves that I would consider sort of beginner card magic moves. And I think there's a couple things that happen here. I think for someone who's brand spanking new, they're going to have a challenge learning it because this very simple move is often taught a little bit too fast for the first time purchaser. And oftentimes I don't feel that the tutor has the right camera angles on it. Sometimes it's taught from too far away. Oftentimes I think the shot should be tighter, and we also should see an over the shoulder or the performer's perspective on this. Now, I love Chris. I think he does an awesome job. I think he's actually a great teacher on here. I did feel like I wanted a tighter shot on his hands, and I wanted an over the shoulder perspective, and maybe go through it once or twice so that folks, if this is their very first purchase, they're sort of just getting and understanding like, oh, that's how the move goes. I would suggest this to every Magic distributor out there, a retailer who is producing these, is that you should have an expert teach in a studio some of the basic moves that are on a release, and even though the creator should teach it as well, that you add these ones that are, added on. It's like, here's how the basic move is done, so that you get it shot to perfection. So that's my one criticism, and I think probably most folks can guess what the basic move is because it's used so much in packet tricks. So that's my real one sort of criticism, is like, not horrible, I just wish it was just taught a little bit better with tighter shots on the hands with the dual perspective. All right, I've spoken my piece on that. Let's talk about how is the gimmick itself. Well, we're talking about these cards here, and they are custom printed United States Playing Card Company cards. They're beautiful. They're great. I really like them. If over time they wear out, as cards wear out, you could go buy a rainbow deck and just write on the back of the cards the markings if you wanted to. So that would be a way to be able to continue to do it forever if you didn't want to repurchase it. But it's so affordable, you may just consider repurchasing it. The gimmicks are great. They should last a long time. We should talk about the skill level. This is clearly beginner skill level, but I've been saying this a lot lately, and I feel really strongly about it, is that even though the moves are very beginner moves, they require practice time. And you should not assume, like, I think it's safe for me to say 10 or 15 minutes worth of practice, 15 minutes worth of 20 minutes of practice, you should be able to go out and perform this effect. However, I would say you probably should put in, over the years you're going to put in hundreds of hours of practice on the move, but just take time to practice the move. As you practice the move, you get better. And so I would say just make sure that do not assume you watch the tutorial and 5 minutes later you'll be able to perform. Some probably will. Take the time to practice. It is well worth it, but the skill level is a beginner level. They do, however, offer multiple handlings from each one of these creators, and some of those may be a little bit more advanced, but despite that they're a little bit more advanced, I would still maintain that they're all well within the realm of a beginner magician. And some of the things here, like that, for the variation on all these, like you'll learn the half pass, the ditch, how to maybe use a Himber wallet is used in one of these, a double lift, an Elmsley count. Those are across the spectrum of the folks who are on this project, the different moves or sleights that you will learn. All right, so the pros here is this is a great straightforward packet trick. And I think it sort of takes like the classic twisting the aces style of a routine with a new approach. And I think Chris has worked out sort of like the challenges that he has had with multiple packet tricks, and added his own level of fun to it, which really make it nice. It's nice, easy, go-to card magic. It's instantly resettable. I think each of the teachers on this project brings their own nice, unique approach to it, which I think should inspire the person who purchases this to think about how they want to put this together. I think the length of this tutorial is freaking awesome for a packet trick, and I think, as I mentioned earlier, Chris James does such a nice job on crediting. The cons would be what I mentioned earlier. I think the moves that are taught, especially the main one, I would love for tighter shots on it and a magician's perspective on it. And I want all distributors just to put that stuff on most releases. Oftentimes I think at this point, like, I like to talk about what would I wanted to have known before I purchased this product. I think it's pretty straightforward. What you see is what you get. It's a packet trick that's easy to do and is straightforward in terms of its presentation. I think when I think about who's going to like this, I think if you're a close-up magician or a strolling magician who likes card magic, you're going to like this. And I think if you're someone who likes packet tricks, you're going to like this as well. Add it to your plethora of other packet tricks out there. In the United States, the cost of this is $21. So it feels very affordable to me in terms of for a packet trick and given the length of tutorial that you get on this. Now, this was just released last week, and it's available through Alakazam Magic. Now, for those who, outside of the UK, for those specifically in the United States, Alakazam Magic now has a distribution center in the United States. So when you go to Alakazam's webpage, they now have a couple of buttons up in the right-hand corner so you can pick what current country you're from and the currency that you have, so that it'll display the cost for you in your currency. And specifically for the United States, shipping is so much faster now with this, since they have a distribution center here in the United States, and you no longer have to wait super long to get your tricks there. Here's a couple things I would say. Go follow Chris James on Instagram if you don't already. You'll see a lot of great stuff that's put up there. You can find this at Alakazam Magic, and I want to say thanks to Chris for sending this to me so that I could review it for you. All right, that's it for Squint from Chris James. I really like this. I think if you like packet tricks, you're going to like this. It's small, easy to pack around with you and to perform. All right, that's it. Leave me a comment down below. Would love to get your perspective. Would love to hear what are some of your favorite packet tricks that you like to perform. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. This is a growing channel and I'm continuing to be here. I will say also, I want everyone to know I am doing a review of decks. Do not go out and purchase decks until you watch the review if you're considering purchasing decks. I mean that strongly. All right, that's it. I'm FiddlinJonny, and remember to keep fiddling around with your magic. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.